And now we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of the debut album, which was you essentially
Yeah, it was just a
recording these
demo, batch of
demos.
demos. Yeah,
I grew up with that song, and up until a couple years ago, honestly, I had no idea that that was a demo.
yeah.
It sounds exactly how it's supposed to be, and it sounds perfect. And I'm curious because in your mind, you knew it was a demo. Um, did you, when it got put on a major label, did you want to re-record this, or did you feel
Well,
this was it?
well, yes, we wanted to record, and I wanted to record the whole record because it's a batch of demos. It really is not, to me, not consistent. There's just I'm showcasing maybe a little country, a little grunge, or whatever was going on at the time because I just wanted to get a publishing deal. So there was no band, so it was just me. But we had started playing, so we had about 6 months on our belt, and I figured out what this band was about, where I should write songs. They were like, "Nope, it ain't broke, don't fix it." And that's why the second record came out 8 months after they released the first one, because every day off we had, and even at the shows at Soundcheck, I would come up with different songs and we'd rehearse them. We'd play them at the show, so we had pre-production on tour for 8 months. So every day we had off during that 8 months, we'd go to a studio, whatever town we're in, and made the second record, which is truly I call it the debut record. It's a band, and that's the blue one with World in December. But we were figuring it out then as
And
a
so,
band.
so the songs that were on the the Collective Soul album, those were written in the period between the release of Hints and Allegations. Uh,
Correct.
yeah,
Like an 8-month
wow,
period there on the road. Yeah.
it's a really prolific output in that short period because you were also going through this whirlwind of what the heck is going on. You played Woodstock,
But I think that was my therapy and my release. Like
yeah.
crazy shit's going on. I'd sit in the back of the bus and just kind of go, "Hey, let me take a breath and just, once again, try to let it flow, man." I'm kind of a spiritual cat, believe in meditation and all that. Like, I'm just like, let's see what happens here. And there's so much pressure taken off because people always talk about, you have your whole life to write the first record and then, 6 months, a year to write the second one. Well, to me, like being able to afford an apartment, food, like there's so much release. Like it was like, oh man, all I have to do, seriously, the easiest job on the planet, is sit in the back of a bus and write. That's all I ever wanted to do. So my wish came true. So I needed to kick ass and make it happen.
Yeah, and you
And like I
did.
said, I go back to the band. They challenge me, man. They won't let me rest on. They just won't, and I love that. And like I said, I don't let them rest either.
And I love the fact, and I think a lot of people do that in the band. You have your brother, and for the last 30 years, you guys have been playing together as a consistent
Yeah.
unit. Because the history of music is obviously there's a lot of feuds in that. So what are those? Obviously, you love each other and it's close, but what are those practical key, things that just from a relationship standpoint, people need to do to maintain these types of strong working relationships, loving relationships, because it's not common in any sense.
No, I always joke with my brother, the Kings, I always heard about Ray busting a guitar over Dave and all that. I was like, I just got to be honest with you, Brother Dean. My guitars mean too much to me to break them over your head. So that's our inside joke. But I think because we grew up in the same, of course, we grew up in the house, but the rest of the guys, across the street, and we knew each other. I've known them since they were born. I mean, they were 10 years younger than me. So I think I've always said that it would be tough as a male, be 21 or 24 years old, and all of a sudden you're put in a bus with these guys you really don't know. And at some point, different, you know, something's going to come out. We already knew each other. I've always said we've known when to be there to hug each other and when to knock the fuck out of each other if we need to. And nobody gets hurt. We're just trying to do it for the
Yeah.
best because we're a strange band. We like each other and we love each other. We really do. And it wasn't until we started having families that the wives started saying, "All right, we're moving to San Diego." Dean moved to San Diego. Johnny to Indianapolis. Like we were so because we'd come home and we couldn't let go of hanging around each other. It was just, they were like, enough of that boy time. Y'all have had 5, 6 months of that family time now, guys.
Yeah. And I saw an interview once where you mentioned the hints and allegations time is the best of times and the worst of times, and the best of times is I would imagine that's the catapult of the career. And what would you describe it as element as the worst of?
The business side of it. I wasn't prepared, you know, and like I said, the guys were 10 years younger than me, and it was my job to kind of, I should have known better, but just the business, it's called music business. I was naive, and I was so excited, you know, once again, the guys were excited. We're all were excited, and we just kind of overlooked certain things that we should have been a little bit more uh, prepared for, and should have had people surrounding us that were looking out for us. We were just naive Southern boys that were just happy that somebody showed up, you know, because before then, the only people that show up to my gigs was who I was dating at the time, you know, and that's because it was free beer. So, you know, all of a sudden to go from nothing to, you know, playing Woodstock, opening for Aerosmith, we were like, you know, just floating on air, and working really hard and getting excited about the record being the band that we knew we could be, you know, with the second record. Like, we get really excited when I present songs to them. They were like, man, the second record's gonna be really, you know, we felt really confident, and it was exciting again. But at the same time, we had to go through the whole lawsuit thing. So live and learn, baby. Live and learn.
Those songs are iconic and they'll live forever, and they're truly great, just great songs.
Thank you.
And during that time, you toured with Van Halen, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's classic, as great as it gets. Any stories, anything big memories?
So many stories. It was like they knew our naiveness. Like, I'm not, you know, because we were just excited, and they took us under their wing, and I mean, helped us in so many ways. Eddie was just absolute sweetheart. One of the coolest things ever. He came on the bus one day, and you know, cigarette and headstock, cigarette and hanging his mouth. He goes, "Hey, we're playing golf tomorrow." It's like, well, you're Eddie Van Halen. I'm gonna do whatever you tell me to do. So we could play golf, and he goes, "Greatest line ever." And I love golf now, but he goes, "Learn to get outside, play golf." Trying to do my gravel voice like he spoke, but he goes, because every hotel is the same. They have a bed or shitter or telephone and TV, and you'll always end up at the bar. You don't want to end up at the bar every night. He goes, get out, play golf, bike or something. So that was kind of, literally, it was like were their little cousins or something, and just so sweet, and still are. Sammy and Michael, still, you know. And I'll never forget, Eddie came off the stage one night because he really was just beyond kind to me, and came off stage. He'd always stop in our room and just talk for a minute, and he just handed me his guitar. I was like, what do you want to do with it? And he goes, take it home. I was like, oh, you sure? He's like, sure, take it home. I was like, okay.
Wow. Well, it seems like musicians love gifting you instruments, because Elton gifted you a piano. Is that right?
I know. Dolly Parton gifted me a Grammy. Like, I'm like,
Is that
thank
right?
y'all. Well, I'll just sit and listen to records, you know.
Hey, do you have a whole room just filled of people's things that they've given you?
I do keep the piano and the
Yeah,
guitar
they're good.
close by.
That's awesome.